Let's just slowly warm up our spine by gradually coming down one vertebra at a time, stretching those shoulders, coming back on the inhale, exhale, pull yourself up. Tuck your pelvis, set your vertebrae down one at a time. Inhale, and the chest lift. Exhale as you pull yourself up. If your back's a little stiff, you might want to do another kind of warm up before this video, but hopefully that this will get your back and spine loosened up for what's yet to come. Gradually coming down one vertebra at a time. Now put your feet on the floor. Slowly articulate your spine up into that pelvic curl. Tucking, 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 one vertebra at a time. Try not to arch your back in this move. That's why you tuck your pelvis. Really articulating that spine, one vertebra at a time. On your way up and on your way down. You should feel the glutes tightening, activating as we get into more glute work here. Squeezing at the top. Now we're going into pelvic, just hinges, up and down. Squeezing at the top. Glutes should be engaged. Now we're doing little presses here. Tucking, tucking. Squeezing those glutes. Squeeze that left bum. Raise that right leg into just a 90-degree angle, slowly setting it down. Bringing it up. See, the knee does not go past the hip. The whole leg moves. Slow and controlled. Up and down. Really feeling the pressure in that left glute, trying to lift it a little bit higher if you can. One glute might be stronger than the other. I definitely have that. Now extend that leg and bringing it in. Don't bring the knee in past the hip. Power the energy through that leg. Straighten as much as you can. Now little presses up. Keeping that leg as straight as you can, powering through. That left glute is burning. And bringing it in, set it down, squeeze the right glute, lift that left leg up into the 90-degree angle again. As you're pressing through that right heel, lifting that glute up off the floor. Inhaling and exhaling, don't forget to breathe. Now extend that leg out, powering through with the energy shooting out that left leg. Just trying to straighten that leg, holding that glute up. I know it's hard. Little pulses up. Good. We are testing our hip stability here, our glute strength. And bringing it in and setting it down. Now we're going to open and close those knees for pulsing. Pulse. Pulse. Good. Working some abductor muscles now go into a little press, up, straight up. Little presses, really tucking that pelvis, squeezing those glutes. Now raise that right leg up, slowly lowering it down, bringing it up, trying to keep that leg straight. I can't always get my leg completely straight. I'm here to set an example for aging women. We can't do everything perfectly, but we can sure try. Now set that one down, lift that other leg up straight as you can, slowly lowering down and lifting up, trying to keep that leg as straight as you can. Sometimes my feet will cramp if I point my toes too much, so you don't have to point really hard if you don't want to. Keeping that hip stable, squeezing that glute. This is a burner. And setting it down. Slowly rolling your spine down, one vertebra at a time. Give yourself a little hug for the low back. Now put your feet together, heels together, toes out, and we're going to lift with our knees apart. Lifting those glutes, squeezing up. Pressing those heels together, feeling those inner thighs working along with the glutes and the hamstrings, obviously. Squeeze. Little pulses. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Now let's put our hands, clasp our hands around the back of the head, elbows at 30-degree angles, scooping those shoulders. Bring that right leg up just to a 90-degree angle as you lift your chest. Head is heavy, arms are working, abs are working, shoulders are scooped. Exhale and inhale. Breathe, strong arms. That knee does not go past the hip. It stays in a 90-degree angle the whole way, going to the other side. Breathe and down. Everything's slow and controlled. The slower you go, the less momentum you're using, and the more you have to use your core, making sure that there's no tension in that neck. Breathing. Now bring both legs up. Chest lift up towards your knees. The chin is down in this motion. Chin is down. Strong arms, heavy head, squeezing those abs. Also maintaining a stable hip line. Bringing that chest lift as high as you can. Now extend the right leg. As you lift, left leg. Nice. Lift right leg. Good. Really holding that core steady. Feeling the resistance of that band. The band is optional. A lot of these movements. Okay, now we're crossing over. A lot of these movements are really good, even without the band. Crossing over right. Crossing over left. Using those abs. Keeping those elbows in alignment there at the 30-degree. Now, come down. Little presses up. I I think we've got 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set it down. Bring your knees up to tabletop. Arms out to the side. Mine should be a little bit higher. Rotating your knees as they are holding them together. Rotate. Keeping the knee in alignment with the feet. Okay. Keeping the knees even as you rotate over. Feeling that nice stretch in the trunk, but also inhaling as you come over. Exhaling, using your abs to pull yourself up. Inhale. Exhale, pulling your legs up, using those obliques. Inhale. Exhale, pulling up. Right, like put your legs down. Come on up. We're going to do rolling next. So put your hands on your shins, knees apart, heels together. Tuck that pelvis as you roll down. So you tuck right here, tuck, 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 and rolling down one vertebrae at a time, keeping in that tuck position, coming down. This is a little hard to master, but just keep your back rounded. Now, just do a little arm work here. Hands behind you. Feet out. Chin down, holding. Your hands could be out a little further behind you and to the side if that's easier. Holding. I know wrist work sometimes is difficult. And then setting it back down. Now we're going onto our side. Going to do a side support or plank. Knees bent. Right hand on the floor, left hand scooped up, coming up, holding that. And then bending your knees as you come down. Now we're going to go all the way down to our side. We're going to lift that oblique, that bottom ab, feet together. We're going to clamshell our leg out, lifting that bottom oblique, squeezing that glute for a little abduction here. Really squeeze as you're lifting that bottom oblique under your abs. Squeeze. This is more glute work. Squeeze. You are going to have a rock hard booty after this. Now, bringing your legs into a 90-degree angle, you're going to lift, mirroring that top leg with that bottom leg. Really feeling that glute. Stretching that glute out a little bit. And we're going to switch sides, starting with our side support. Put the top leg over the bottom leg. Left arm is out in front of you, and you're going to lift up into that side support. Remember, when you do lower, you're going to bend your knees to bring yourself down. So keep breathing, holding that core tight. You can always go on to your forearm if you have wrist problems. But you're feeling this in your shoulder. Bend those knees, come down. And here we are. This position, your heels should be in line with your glute. You notice I'm not in a 90-degree angle. Okay? Squeezing that open. Squeeze. Lifting that bottom oblique. That's the hard part. Squeeze. Hello, booty. Now bring them up to a 90-degree angle. Mirror that top leg with the bottom leg and do your lifts. Final glute exercise of the day. You will feel this. All right. Let's come onto our knees. Put your hands a little bit north of your head. Hover your knees up off the floor. So right now my knees are not on the floor. If your hands are a little bit north of your shoulders, it's a little bit easier on the wrists, but we're just holding this here. You're starting to feel this in your quads. Got some good arm work and core work going on at the same time. Keep holding. Keeping your head in alignment. And lower it back down. Come into a child's pose, stretching out your back, your arms, taking some nice deep breaths. And then come back up. Now we're going to go into a front support, better known as a plank. Try to keep your bottom in alignment, lifting that right leg, holding that. That's optional. But we don't want that booty to be up or down. We want it to be in a nice alignment. Holding that leg up if you choose to do that. Holding that support. Now I just did a little adjustment. My bottom was up a little too high, so I just adjusted it so that there's a straight line going from shoulder to heel. Grounding those palms into the floor. Now pushing back for a nice little stretch here. Pushing back a couple of times. Feels so good. One more time. Oops, I lied. Another time. Coming into that nice stretch. Now let's go on to our back. We're going to do some upper back work here, so important, and some lower back work. So here, what we're going to do is put your palms down on the floor, lift your chest up off the floor and hold, and then lower. Lifting up and hold, working those low back extensors, and lower. Lifting up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Lifting up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Now put your arms in a 90-degree angle. Point your toes in. So we don't want our glutes to engage on this. We just are strictly working the thoracic spine, lifting up and lowering. So no glute activation. Right in that kind of upper back, lifting up and down. Lifting up and down. Focusing on not it being the lower back, more the mid back. Now we're going to lift that right arm, left leg, and then opposite. Starting our slow swim here. The shoulders should be scooped, okay? Now go faster, faster. Feeling the whole back in this movement, swimming. Good. Legs are spread a little bit. Toes are out a little bit. Working that whole back side. Nice. All right. So we can take the loop off. And do a little arm work here. Thread that loop through your arms so it's around your upper arm. Try to get it flat there a little bit. Now bring those arms down. We're working that upper back. So you're spreading those elbows out as you come down, depending on your loop tightness. Mine's pretty tight. Exhale as you come down, feeling all those beautiful upper back muscles. Bringing it up. Exhale down. Feeling it, feeling it. Good. More shoulder stability here at the same time. Always keeping those shoulders scooped downward so we don't have a lot of tension on our neck, okay? Now take the loop off. Let's do a little side stretch here. Lower that right elbow down. That top arm is just kind of scooped and straight. Bringing that elbow up. Now come down again. Pressing that opposite glute into the floor. Feeling that opposite side. One more time. Lowering that right elbow if you can. And up. Let's go to the other side. Bringing it down and up. Pressing that opposite glute into the floor. And one more time. Now I'm just going to lean over that right knee. I've got a tight back, so I'm not going over too far, but there are days where I come all the way over, so you do you. It's just a good demonstration to show that we all have tough days with different body parts, right? All right, let's lay down our back down on the floor. We're going to stretch our glutes a little bit here. So putting that foot in front of that knee, threading that arm through. Now I'm kind of leaning over to the right just a little bit to find that sweet spot in my glute loosening up. Now extend that right leg to stretch that hamstring at the same time. So important to stretch those hamstrings. That can lead to a really tight back. And then let's go to the other side, threading it through, leaning over towards that bent leg just to see if we can find a nice sweet spot, some tight spots. Really pushing that leg in. Now extending that opposite leg. Feeling that hamstring. Focusing on what you're stretching. All right, let's bring it down. Let's go into that happy baby pose, grabbing the outsides of your feet and opening those knees. It doesn't look like mine are that open from this angle, but really open them up. Just opening up your hips, which is so important. And now coming down to the floor. Want your feet to be hip width apart and windshield wiping those back and forth. And notice I have my arms up. I'm just stretching my shoulders at the same time, loosening up those hips, loosening up those shoulders, really going at your own speed, what feels good to you. And now we're going to grab one leg into our chest lift. A little more ab work at the end, but really just trying to stretch out here. Feels so good. You could always put your head down if you don't want to engage your abs.